It's the Uprising.
This is the Uprising. I'm Pack, and this is Adam Lumley. What's going on, brother?
Not much. It's been a crazy couple of weeks. We've been doing a lot of interviews, so I've been a little busy doing that. So we haven't had our weekly show. But since we're going to be taking a little bit of break on interviews right now, kind of protect ourselves from the COVID right now. So we're going to be doing a weekly show for a couple of weeks until the spikes kind of calm down a little bit. And then we'll start trying to set up more interviews again. But I wanted to talk about just a couple of things going on in the world. Of course, the election results. If you're not aware, Pac and I live in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We had our primaries yesterday. One of the guys that we've been really hoping and we interviewed was Kojo Emosa Caesar. He is Tulsa, and he won his primary yesterday. He stomped his competitor, Mark Keeterman, however you say his name. Who cares? But he won it really, really comfortably, 66% with 34,000 votes, which is really good. Majority of in Tulsa. So he did great. The woman we interviewed, Daniela, she didn't go. She's running unopposed in the Democratic primary, so she didn't have to worry about anything like that. She'll go on the general, and hopefully she'll do really well against an incumbent, and we'll try to get her on a couple more times, as well as Kojo. But another race was important. Was Abby Boyles? Am I saying that correct?
I think so, yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about her? You know more about her than I do, but she did win her Senate primary.
Yeah, by a landslide.
Go against Imhoff, Senator Imhoff.
Yeah, I mean, there were I think there were 3 or 4 that were primarying on her end.
Yeah, looks like
and Britt.
Yeah, three other people.
Yeah. So I mean, she had spoke about in her interview. She had spoke about UBI and raising the minimum wage, more progressive ideas. So that's why I kind of leaned more towards her. I knew Britt was too. Britt wasn't as vocal. So like, this is the thing, like when you're primarying, when you're doing primary race, you need to make sure that people can tell the difference, the contrast between you and the other people running. So it's real important that you like speak up and talk about your what you're running on, your policies. So I wish that Britt would have had a more well-known platform. I think she would have did a lot better too.
Yeah. It's going to be a tough road against Inhofe, but I think it's some leeway. I hear she was a former anchor on a news channel, so she has name recognition and she has some good policies. It's going to be a tough road for her. It's going to be a tough road for Kojo as well, but I think Kojo's a really good candidate. And Danielle's a really good candidate in the second Congress. So we just have to get out to vote, and we're going to try to do our job to get them on as much as we can and talk about them as much as we can and other candidates as well. So that's about all I have to say about that. Do you have anything else to say about the local Oklahoma elections?
Well, I mean, 802. I'm pretty hype about 802 getting passed, even though it barely got passed.
Yeah.
So 802 was pretty much like a Medicaid expansion for Oklahoma. I mean, it's not Medicare for all, which we should have everywhere, but it's a lot better I've been trying to get health care for almost 10 years now, and
Yeah.
now I can go get health care. So it expanded Medicaid, and it also helped save a lot of rural hospitals
Mhm.
because there have been a lot of hospitals that have been shut down, especially during this crisis, which is crazy because you think, you need hospitals. Um, so it's a good thing it passed, even though it barely passed, it still passed. And the good thing is that no governor or mayor can take this back. Like we've got it now, and it's
Mhm.
it's written into Oklahoma's constitution.
Mhm.
So, hey, I'm gonna have health care. Who who
Yeah.
who would have knew?
Yeah. A win's a win, man. I'm really happy. I think there's some leeway for progressives in this state. We just got to get over the certain things. And
Yeah,
Daniela, she's running for second again. She says, which I think is kind of correct on certain degrees, is the messaging for progressives to win here,
yeah,
which I agree to a certain degree with that. So there was another primary that had a progressive in it. He was Andrew Ronoff. He went against Hickenlooper for Senate in Colorado.
mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, Ronoff lost pretty handily, almost by 20 points. So we're going to have old Hickenlooper likely in the Senate. So that sucks. But
Yeah,
we do have some positive news. Now, this was last week. Um, Elections. Give me a second. Do you have anything to say about the Colorado Senate thing right quick, Pat? You hear me?
yeah. No, I have absolutely. I mean, nothing positive to say about Hickenlooper. So,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't much have anything positive as well. So, all right. So let's get the bad news out of the way right quick. And this one really hurts for me. I love Charles Booker with a passion. One of my favorite people that's run for office in a while. So Charles Booker, he was running for Senate in Kentucky to get old Turtle Man out of the office, Mitch McConnell. And he lost, barely lost to I'm a Trump Democrat, which I'm a Trump Democrat, Amy McGrath, barely, but he lost by
yeah,
like 2 points. Let me see what the exact number was. Give me a second. Yeah, no, that's crap. Technology for you.
yeah, yeah. That
Here,
$41 million really helped her out.
yeah, no flipping kidding. Um, there it is. By 3 points. She had 200,047, comparable to Booker's 231,000. And the third candidate had 5%. So, Charles Booker he was a great candidate. I think I hope he runs for mayor or governor or president one day because I think he's that good. I think he ran a pretty much a perfect campaign. It's just he didn't get the media attention when he needed it.
Yeah,
He didn't really get the media attention until about a month ago, and he needed it 4 months ago.
yeah. Because she was
And
off and running.
yeah,
She had a lot more
and
time to campaign and collect money
mm,
from donors.
yeah, she has a ton of money too. She spent $20 million on this campaign, and Booker
41.
spent.
She
Oh,
got four.
she raised 41, but she
She
spent
raised
20.
41.
Yeah,
I
she
got
spent
you.
20 million so far. So and she's going to raise a lot more, and she's not going to win. She's going to get annihilated by Mitch McConnell. But it gives me hope, though. Barely he lost to a candidate that the entire DNC is behind.
Chuck Schumer. Yeah.
Yeah, she got he got outraged 20-1, well, 40-1, 21 spent, and he barely lost. So that should tell you that if you have a really good candidate that has a really good message, even in some of the red states, I think they can win.
And even with voter suppression, because let's not forget that they shut down. There was only in Louisville, there was only one voting place.
Mm-hmm.
In the whole state. They closed 3,200 voting places. So the deck was stacked against him, and he still only barely lost. You know what I mean? But this just goes to show that 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 they will go to they know no bounds when it comes to keeping progressives out of the political landscape. It to me it's shameful because just because of both aspects. Like, I feel like if more people could have voted, especially in Louisville where he was doing most of the campaigning, if the voting places wouldn't have been closed, I think we would have had a larger voter turnout, and I think he would have won. So, I guess it just kind of depends on how you look at it, but I feel like the deck was stacked up against him, and he still only barely lost. So, yeah, I definitely feel good that if we can get the corruption out, then progressives will easily win these elections.
Yeah, I mean, Jake Ewer says it best, like Republicans and the Republican Light, which is the establishment of the Democratic Party, their messaging sucks. Like, they don't stand for anything, and Republicans stand for all the bad things.
Right.
So all they have is culture when it comes to Republicans, and all the Democrats have is corporate money, and we're not Republicans. That's pretty much.
She's not going to beat Mitch.
Oh, she's going to get annihilated.
I mean, and I don't even understand why. Like, if you watch that interview where she's like, "Well, the problem is that Trump is trying to pass stuff, and Mitch McConnell isn't letting him."
Like,
so you're going to get in office and you're going to allow Trump to pass stuff is the gist of it. You know what I mean? It's like Mitch McConnell has been stopping Trump, and that's not what I'm going to do. Put me in there and I won't stop him. Like, to me, it's so ignorant. It's so ignorant. And the voters don't even look at that. Most of the voters that voted for her are only looking at surface. They see, pilot, they see military, they see, her social role. That's all they're looking at. And so they don't even care to even know about policy or what she's running on or what she's going to do when she's in that position. Will anybody be better than Mitch McConnell? Yes. Will she beat him? No.
She will not beat him.
No.
DNC is going to waste a ton of money on that stupid race, and Mitch McConnell's going to beat her by 20 points probably.
And it makes me think that, like, legit, these establishment candidates are here to do nothing but pave the way for Republican victories.
Yeah.
I mean,
the prime example in the presidential primary, like, I never seen the Democratic Party be that effective and ruthless when it came to squashing Bernie Sanders' campaign. When they fight Republicans, they just let them run all over them.
I didn't even know they fought Republicans.
No.
They're too busy trying to keep progressives out where they're like, well, we'd rather have Mitch than have a progressive. Yeah. And that just shows you right there whose side they're on. They're obviously it's a class war.
I mean, it's really was one party and it's two sides of the same party bickering at each other. So yeah, that sucked. That really sucks. But I hope he either runs for Senate against Rand Paul, which is going to be harder because Rand Paul is actually liked. Mitch McConnell is despised. Mm-hmm. Well, hopefully he runs for governor or president or whatever, something that's in higher office.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind him even being VP to AOC if she runs one day.
There we go.
that'd be a great ticket in my eyes. But yeah, let's that's the bad news. That sucked. But let's get to the better news. So
Okay.
New York, on the other hand, their primaries happened last week, and we have better news. Let's get the ones that kind of suck out of the way. So ninth district and Congress district, one of the candidates I really liked didn't get enough attention. If he thought it got more attention, I think he would have definitely done better. But he lost Isaiah James. He got fourth place for only a little over 5,000 votes against Mrs. Clark. I don't know how to say or pronounce her first name, but he lost, unfortunately. Let me see here. In New York, it's still really close. Carla Maloney. I'm saying that right. She's an incumbent in that race. He ran last time, and he's 1 point away, so he might actually win. He's kind of a progressive, so better than a corporate Democrat in my eyes. Lauren Ashcraft was the better candidate, more of the progressive in the race, but she lost. She got 13%. I think she kind of probably took some votes away from Patel. So that's one of the things I want to talk about after we knock these out. AOC landslided her doofus opponent.
Mm-hmm.
Ricky Torres, he's a good candidate. He's a gay man that's going to be in Congress likely, so that's great. But the big one in New York, outside of AOC, the 16th district, Jamal Bowen knocked out Elliot Engel. He been in that seat forever. He was in charge of the World Affairs Committee. I'm not saying that correctly, but essentially he was in charge of certain military things when it came to Congress, military inventions and stuff. So got him out of the office, which is great. Bowman's going to win his primary easily, and he's going to be another strong progressive. I'm happy that he won. Other candidate that's really good, Montero Jones, he annihilated everyone in that race in the 17th district. He's another progressive, another gay man, so he's going to be one of the first gay men in Congress, openly gay men in Congress, so that's awesome as well. So you want to say anything, Pac, and we can get into some analyzing everything?
Well, I mean, I'm glad that, that we've got some progressive, even if they're progressive light candidates. It gives me faith that in the future, even if it's in the next, 2 years to 4 years, that we'll start getting a lot more progressives, in the Senate and the House, and even like locally. So it's kind of the thing, like progressive movement. This is the thing. It's going to keep progressing. Okay. So it's a constant thing. It won't be stopped. So I'm just glad to see that we're getting a lot more progressive candidates in positions of power to help the people.
I mean, it's awesome. Like our ideas, which we're going to go into a bit more in depth in a second. That's one of the topics I wanted to talk about. But the progressive, like you were saying, we progress as a society, and I think the left of the progressive movement's going to take over eventually. But I want to knock out some things right quick before we get into that discussion. That's be a little segue. But one thing, so with the 12th district in the progressive light with Patel, makes me wonder, because with the Bowman race in the 16th, we had another progressive running, and he got out and supported Bowman. So I'm going to ask this to Pac, and I'm going to answer it myself. Do we think in certain races like this against a establishment incumbent, and the polling, if the polling's showing that one person's really close and we have more than one progressive in a race, does that progressive that's not doing as well in a polling drop out and endorse the stronger candidate? How do you feel about it? And I'll comment
I mean,
as well.
I could understand on a personal level their hesitation to do that if they feel like they want to fight till the end.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like if you're a true progressive and you're running up against similar candidates that even are have the same policies as you, um, the right thing to do would be to back out and support each other or come together. Um, but I could understand if somebody is only doing this for a personal reason, I can understand why they wouldn't.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but the right thing to do for the good of the movement would be to, you know, back out and help the one that's probably going to win.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. Just that's what the establishment does. They get their person, and everyone else gets out of the way. And it's less democratic. I know that, but we gotta get people in office, man. We're not gonna change anything unless we do. You had to
Yeah.
protest until we get people that actually want to change things in office, and enough of them. Nothing's gonna change.
Right.
And
And the establishment isn't sending us their best people.
no, they're sending us to whoever their overlords like, essentially.
That's it.
It's either that or to just. I swear, some of the strategists in the Democratic Party are some of the stupidest people when it comes to politics. I literally, I just don't understand it at all. Like, they just don't care if they win, don't care if they lose, just as long as the progressives don't win.
That's it.
But I don't fully agree. I don't understand it either, because a lot of these people think it's just a game. It's a football game, and we're a blue team, and we want to win more than red team. Well, you need to have better ideas,
Right.
than because you're not going to win. Why would like I was saying that why would a Republican or a moderate go for a Republican light when they just go to a Republican? Like, this doesn't make any sense to me.
No. And
And
I'm
it's
sick
not
of
like,
people trying to say how to vote too.
yeah,
Now you need to get behind like Amy. You know, well, everyone should get behind her or she's going to lose. No, she was going to lose anyway. But,
yeah,
you know, this is the thing. Like, people shouldn't just give up their vote.
mm-hmm.
And like blind voting and falling in line, that's not a Democratic thing. It's definitely not a progressive thing. That's a Republican thing. Just fall in line and vote for who is there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I get so pissed off at my Democratic friends who are just like, they're establishment bootlickers. I don't know what else to call them. Like, they're, you know, now you got to fall in line so that she'll win. You know what I mean? That's not how it works. We don't fall in line. We don't blindly vote for people who aren't going to do anything for us. And
Yeah.
especially somebody who's a pro-Trump Democrat, which even saying that sounds insane.
I agree to a degree, and I disagree a little bit.
Yeah.
It really depends. Like the Joe Biden situation.
Yeah.
Let's just segue to that.
Yeah.
So I think it's necessary, if you're in a swing state, to vote for Joe Biden.
Right.
Because, and like you're saying, nothing's going to change with Joe Biden. Maybe little changes, but the actions that the president has taken the last month or so, I suppose,
Yeah,
it is terrified me, to put it bluntly.
right.
And I normally, if Trump was a normal Mitt Romney, Trump, or Republican, or honestly, even his not as insane version of himself as he's been the last month. This sentiment I don't fully agree with, but his actions has completely changed my mind.
Yeah.
And I think if he gets 4 more years,
Yeah.
the positive, like the most optimistic version is we're just going to we're going to fix all his issues when he would get him out of office. But
Right.
the more realistic is, I don't know what he's going to do.
Right.
I
Oh
don't
yeah.
know what he's going to do. And there's too many people in this country that you are so afraid, so they give up all their rights for that. They'd rather give up their freedom. Benjamin Franklin said, if you give up your freedom, I'm paraphrasing, but essentially, if you give up your freedom for security, then you don't deserve freedom in the first place. So,
I mean, like, I'm not saying like I'm still gonna vote against Trump. My statement is more of the progressive movement, which what I'm saying is the establishment are always taking these risks.
Yeah.
Like, you can't expect everybody to fall in line and vote against their own interest. You know what I mean? Not saying that with the presidential run that's not like it should happen, and I'm still going to vote against Trump. I'm not going to enjoy it. But for the establishment to take that, it's so risky to do that when you could just get a progressive in there and you could win. You know?
Or do better, at least.
Yeah, or do better. Yeah. Yeah, I was just speaking on the movement as a whole. That's just not something that we do. They expect everyone to fall in line, and to me, that's too risky. They shouldn't take those chances anymore. They should get progressives in if they want to win, but maybe they don't want to win.
They don't want to win. Their target voting block are either DC Democratic elites, moderates, that the wine mom moderates that live in suburbs that don't like Trump because he's an asshole, but like some of his policies. That's their target demographic for the Democratic establishment. They want that. They want the never Trumpers. And it won him the primary and probably going to win him the general.
Yeah.
As of right now, unless things change dramatically, Trump's not going to get reelected. He's going to get landslided.
Yeah.
He's even saying himself he's not going to win.
Yeah, I know.
So
and Fox News knows he's not going to win.
Have you heard that report that from Fox News, someone from Fox News saying that he might even drop out?
Yeah.
So we'll see about that. I don't think that's going to happen, but it might. I mean, I'm not completely ruling it out.
Republicans will do whatever they've got to not lose power. Yeah. So it wouldn't surprise me that they like, hey, we'll give you another building. You can put your name on it. You can put whoever's name on it. It's going to be his. And just leave this alone, and we'll let Pence run in your place.
Yeah, but I think that'd be a terrible strategy, because if they do, all his sycophant cult supporters are going to just go insane, because they're going to think the deep state kicked him out, which they kind of did a little, but it's not completely illogical.
Yeah, what they don't realize is the deep state is on their side.
Yeah, I know. Ask a Trump Republican, like, what is a deep state? And I'd love to hear the answer for that. But yeah, I think if they did that, I think that'd be terrible, and I think that they would get absolutely annihilated everywhere, which they're looking like they're going to do anyway. But I think it'd be even worse. So yeah, please do that, Republicans, because I don't want them in office. But
if you're watching, of course,
yeah, right.
Our Republican fan base is somewhere down here.
Yeah, right. So I can see it though. Trump is such a narcissist, and he cares so much about his ego that he'll just drop out and make excuses. They made me do it. I didn't want to do it, but they made me do it. Your Trump impression.
The swamp is kicking me out.
Yeah, there you go.
I drained it. I filled it up with clean water, clean coal, and now they're kicking me out.
It's like, you ever seen that video of Jeb Bush, the kicking me off stage?
Oh no!
Oh my God, I meant to send that to you.
Yeah, send it to me. I gotta watch it. I need some humor and all this madness.
It's the funniest thing I've ever seen. But so I could see that happen. I can see that he just drops out 2 weeks before the general because he knows he's about to get a landslide, and Pence's gonna be like, all right. But anyway, enough about Trump. Do I think one of the topics is, do we think we can push Joe Biden to the left? Can the progressives push him to the left?
Well,
we'll see.
We'll see.
I mean, Joe Biden, his whole entire career goes where the wind goes. So if we put enough pressure, maybe. I think he wants to do what his caretakers say more than anything.
Yeah.
I barely even think he really wants to be president, honestly. I don't really know why he's even running. They could have picked a better candidate.
I think he can be persuaded.
Yeah.
I mean, right now he's all we got, and it's sad. But I think that if he actually gets a more progressive VP, I think we'll do better in the 4 years. I think we'll see more of an increase of actually getting things done instead of everything just staying stagnant. And but you know, the like Harris, no.
Yeah.
Not progressive enough. But of course, who's going to be progressive enough for progressives at this point?
Can you repeat that? You kind of broke up a little bit.
Oh, okay. I said who is going to be progressive enough for progressives at this point?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Right.
Not the realistic choices.
So I feel like if they get on his ass and he gets a halfway progressive VP, I think the public and the progressive movement can help sway a lot of stuff for him to maybe, even if we can get him to look at it again and say, okay, maybe Medicare for all isn't so bad. You know what I mean? Things like that. I think you've definitely got more of a chance doing that with him than you do Trump. I mean, there's no question about that.
Trump's not going to do anything.
Right.
On that thing. We've already tested that theory, and that didn't do anything other than the CARES Act, and the CARES Act, the STEP Act, which is not bad. And he did the chokehold reform with comes to police, and they wouldn't have done the CARES Act if they weren't in an economic depression, essentially. So, yeah, Trump put in 200 new judges, which is going to be awful, and he put 2 Supreme Court, which is awful as well. So, I mean, elections do have consequences. So, I think it's possible. I mean, FDR. No, Joe Biden's not FDR. Let's not get ridiculous. But FDR wasn't a progressive when he got elected, but he became the most progressive president we've ever had, and he's even more left than Bernie Sanders is. A lot of the issues. But so, can we push Joe Biden? I hope so. It's going to be up to AOC and Bowman and Bernie and other people in the progressives in the office and the people on the street. It's going to be that. Because of VP, I don't mind Kamala Harris when she was still running. She's not a great candidate. She's not a great person in my eyes, but she's at least politically smart enough to act like she cared about Medicare for all when it's politically expedient. So the political instincts are better. She's not a good candidate. That's why she then dropped out before we even did any votes. So in that sense, she's going to likely be the candidate. I'd be shocked if she's not. But Liz Warren's still in the running. I think Joe Biden wants Liz Warren probably. And if she's a VP, then she's going to probably be the candidate in 2024.
Yeah.
And I know we don't really like her a lot, the left, because of what she did.
She's more progressive than Harris. I mean, arguably so, and at least she stands for what she's fighting for. Well, I mean, more than Harris does. I mean, when you asked her about Biden, she was like, "That was a debate," but she would stand by whatever she said in the debate. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. She has, that's definitely disappointing to me. But if Biden wins, which he likely will right now, he's not gonna get a second term. He's not gonna run again. I don't know if he's even gonna finish his first term. I think they're gonna kick him out, like Jeb Bush. They're gonna kick him out in a couple of years because of his health issues, and whoever the VP is going to probably be a president. Essentially, like when Bush Jr. was president, Dick Cheney really was our president.
Right.
George Bush Jr. was our figurehead.
The puppet master.
Yeah, Darth Cheney.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if Liz Warren's the VP and she runs for president, I don't know if she could win because she's a terrible candidate as well. She's not good at her political instincts are awful. So I don't have confidence in that either. But if we can get a strong candidate in 2024, Nina Turner, AOC maybe, I think she's not ready for that. But we'll see. Someone else. I like Mark Bocan. He's a congressman from Wisconsin. He has a lot of work he does in the Congress. He has a lot of friends, and he's a strong progressive. He's been on Tom Hartman's show he kind of took Bernie's spot, being on a weekly show with Tom Hartman. So if you don't know who Tom Hartman is, he's kind of the OG progressive that's been doing it for years. He had Bernie on for like a decade. And one of the reasons why Bernie was able to send where he was is because Tom Hartman. So I'm a big fan of his. So Bocan or someone else, I can't think of anyone on the top of my head, but you never know. Who you think could run in 2024? That's progressive.
I mean, of course, I would love to see AOC with Booker.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's just like dream team picks.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, and I know there's a lot of other progressives out there that in other states that are running that we might not have heard about, because as we've seen, like a lot of people hadn't heard about the progressives running in Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think there needs to be a bigger connection with us. I mean, I know that we've got independent media and and stuff like that, but I think that we need to create a bigger network with progressives like statewide, so that we all can help in any way that we can. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's really going to take a village, man. I don't think it's something that just one person can change. I think it's going to take all of us to come together and say, okay, these are the true progressives running. These are the people that need to be backed up, and let's do everything we can to raise awareness to them as a candidate.
Which is kind of what we're trying to do with this show.
Exactly. And I feel like there needs to be this everywhere. Like this needs to be one of these in Kansas. There needs to be one, like it needs to be everywhere. Because it's not just happening in one place. There's not just a progressive movement going for the White House. There's progressives everywhere, and I think that raising awareness and letting people know that these are the people that are running and this is what they stand for. I
Mm-hmm.
think more people will realize that what they want might tend to line up with more of a progressive agenda.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. Him and I are gonna have to go over some ideas I've been kind of kicking my head, but yeah, that's definitely something I want to do. Kind of the purpose of the show is to give people a platform, progressives a platform, and we're going to be interviewing people that's running for state house, state senate, really anything. Honestly, I don't really care as long as they're not an insane person and they
yeah,
have the ideology that Pat and I have, and
you cut out a little there.
leftists. I mean, I love to have them on the show. So that's one of the purposes of the show is to have progressives on the show. And I was watching TYT's coverage of the elections last night, and it frustrated me a little bit because Cenk was talking about Oklahoma, and he didn't even mention Kojo. He didn't mention Daniela. Didn't mention Greg Robinson.
Right.
I don't know how much of a progressive Greg Robinson is. I haven't been able to interview him yet, but what Pax says he is. So he's kind of aligned with Kojo. So that's three progressives in the state of Oklahoma that are running for office, and not enough people know about him. Kojo is an awesome candidate. He really is. He really, really is. I really wish he was running in a more of a purple state
Right.
because I think he have a really good chance of winning. And I think he has a good chance of winning here, honestly, if we can get enough votes out, people voting. And I think maybe he can win here. It's going to be hard for him, but I think he's such a good candidate that he has a chance. And I think Danielle has a good chance of I don't know of winning, but definitely causing some damage to the incumbent and getting that message out. She's running in more rural Oklahoma. And and inner city people have a lot more in common than they do, especially when it comes to economics. Because America historically hasn't cared about the black people and people in inner cities. And recently, America and the government doesn't care about rural people either. They kind of just care about the suburban people. And the Democratic Party, especially, was extremely notorious for that, is they don't care at all about rural because they don't think they can get them. And I think that's nonsense. I think the message has to be different. I think the message when it comes to guns needs to definitely be different when it comes to rural areas, and certain other things maybe kind of tweak a little bit. But this country is a lot more left than we think it is. Well, the establishment thinks it is. We know that it's a pretty left state country, and I mean, you just gotta get the message out and get good candidates. My eyes. What do you think, Pac?
Yeah, I mean, that's my number one thing when we were going back and looking at, looking at everyone's websites, people that are running for mayor. Not going to say any names, and stuff like that. We're like, let's, even on the other side, I've even went to, Republicans. Let me see what they're running on, and a lot of it is nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big nothing burger. I'm from Oklahoma. Yeah, all of us are pretty much from Oklahoma. Give us something else, But nothing on policies. Like Kojo's was different. We went to Kojo's website, policy. So to us, because we're more in tuned with the political landscape of what's going on, we're paying attention to policies. But the average voter is only paying attention to the surface. My values, I'm a father, all of this stuff. And I understand that you want to vote for somebody who you think is cool and somebody who you think is a good person. I get that. But that is not going to get any change. Change is not going to happen from voting for somebody who's a cool person. We need to know their policies and what they plan to do for the people. And so, please, if you're going to take an interest, if you're like, I understand some people don't even get out and vote, but I'm talking to the people who do get out and vote and don't pay attention. If you're going to get out and you're going to make the decision to vote for somebody, take an interest in what they're running on. See what policies they're running on, because you might be, and more times they are, voting against your own interest.
Yeah. So this guy named Ken Riddick, whatever he says his name, he's a Republican running for mayor to take over the Republican side of the mayor race. His issues is cutting taxes, Republican, building the coalitions. I don't know exactly what that means. Better schools, fine. Safer neighborhoods, supporting our city's finest, all right. See that thrives. Okay, well, platitudes and Republican nonsense. But I messaged him and I talked to him a little bit. I asked him, is he running on a kind of a right-wing economic populism? He said more of a what makes sense for Tulsa. He running for Tulsa's mayor. And I asked, like, so what do you mean by that? And he's like, well, one thing I would want to do is build a entrepreneurs. And I was like, all right, I like that. And he told me about it as well. I was like, no, I actually like that idea because I had that idea. He definitely had a lot more fleshed out than I did. So, and I was thinking to myself, why I wanted to ask those questions, because he was criticizing our current mayor being kind of an elitist. Now he said some ridiculous things like Bloomberg's a progressive leftist. That like come on, come the fuck on, dude.
Where's reality?
But that's that like that. If you don't know, okay, so for our audience, probably they know, but just in case we have a random person, Bloomberg's nothing, nowhere can be. This is a progressive than Trump is. He just ran in the Democratic Party because a lot of Democratic voters are idiots, honestly. I'm not trying to be rude, but like he was saying, they care about getting Trump out of office and nonsense, and not caring about the issues. Like, I just don't get it. Like, who cares if they like football and going long walks on the beach? Like, is that going to change my life? No. Like, Pack has such a good thing. He says that I don't care about what you tell me how good of a person you are. What are your policies? That's going to tell me how good of a person you are.
Right.
I'll paraphrase that a little bit. He says it better than I do, but
yeah, it's all right.
But essentially, that's what he says.
Yeah,
and that's perfect, because like I really don't care like about nonsense like that. But I do understand that some people do. That's why we have in the interview structure, we do have a interview that talks more about the personal stuff, because that matters to some people. That doesn't matter to me. I really don't think it matters to Pac that much. But that's unfortunately what politics is right now. There's a lot of surface level nonsense. And until we start moving towards what actual issues are, we're not going to move. Because Amy McGrath is a perfect example. She's not dick for Kentucky.
Oh, but she is going to allow Trump to do. She's going to allow Trump to do stuff that Mitch wouldn't let him do.
This is the most frustrating. don't understand it. But very quick, what you have anything else to say about that, Pac?
I mean, for Republicans, that's a win-win.
Yeah.
I think that they enjoy watching the Democratic Party have this split, and once we can get, and I know this might sound radical to some people, but once we can get the establishment out of the party, we can take it back for the people. Yeah, it does sound radical when I say it. I
It's
really,
not, though.
I really think the
Really
establishment as a whole, and I'm not just talking about the left wing establishment. I'm talking about the whole establishment, which includes Republicans, Democrats, independents, libertarian. There's a whole establishment that has all the parties in it. Okay, and they're the ones that want to have control.
Mm-hmm.
And so they give and take a little bit, and then they put on charades and they act like, oh, we're not like the Republicans, but they still vote with them. They still give them millions of dollars, and they still like look out for their interest in weird little ways.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think that we need to, take the Democratic Party back. And I think it's going to happen because eventually the more the average voters start paying attention, if we can get them to pay attention to a lot of these details, I think they'll start waking up. It'll be kind of like the Matrix. We'll just be waking everybody up and be like, here, this is the real world. Mm-hmm. Welcome to it.
The sky is blue, not red.
Right. This is up.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's hard to, like, with the Republican that you spoke with, like you tell me like he has a couple things that are, but then you say he thinks that Bloomberg is a leftist. So see right there, that one little like taking away from reality, that's enough for me to be like, I got to shut you off, man, because like you can, this person has some good ideas, but he thinks the sky is made of chocolate.
Yeah.
So it's still like, okay, you got some good ideas, but we can't let you in office because you're obviously out of your mind.
Yeah.
But again, that's just my opinion. Bloomberg is, like you said, is far from a leftist. I mean, he's a Republican. And so it's funny to see another Republican call him a leftist. Like they pander to their crowd, man. It's so hilarious to be over here watching it.
Like, you broke up a little bit.
Oh,
you broke up a little bit. What are you saying?
I was saying it's just hilarious to be over here watching Republicans pander to nonsense.
And that's the thing. Like, I think he either, if he actually believes that, that's like automatically disqualifying in my eyes. But if he's just pandering to doofuses that don't know anything about politics, then okay, I get it. But if he actually believes that, oh my God. But yeah, like he has some good ideas. That's why I brought him up, because we can take those ideas, because that's a good idea. Right. I've had that idea, and he had it even more fleshed out than I did.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to be nothing to do with ego. It's just Gary Vaynerchuk says, like, more than likely you're not the only one that has an idea. You're just the one that is acting on that idea, and well, there you go. Yep. So I like that idea. I want to flesh it out a little bit more and everything else. But so, like I was bringing it up, one of the reasons why I brought it up is because the left can get it. You get some of those people. Now, you can't get some too far gones. Yeah, you're wasting your time. But you're a person that kind of just listens to a lot of Fox News and other nonsense and doesn't really understand politics very well. The misinformed, not the insanes. We can get those people. Honestly, we can get those people. And we need to get the people that don't vote. Like, one, we need to getting the outside yourself than your government officials. Like I don't I don't know what else could put that idea better in people's mind in this year, because the government shut everything down and everything else. Well, there you go. That's impacting almost everyone's lives. And the COVID-19's impacting almost everyone's lives in this whole world, not just this country. So we got to get to people that don't vote, and we got to get to vote, and we got to get it figured out that make it easier for them to vote. And moving forward, this is going to be Packenar's job to inform people on progressive ways, getting good candidates on the show, and promoting those good candidates. And that's we haven't fully talked about this, but getting talking about bills like 802, but not just for us, for other states, trying to explain either us trying to figure out what those bills mean, or have people on the show to explain it for us, or something along those lines, because there's definitely a humongous gap right now. And I understand it with comes like TYT and other progressives. They only have the big dogs on. Like I was talking with the mayor from Milwaukee, Mr. Gamble, Mayor Gamble. I was telling him, like, that's one of the things that kind of I think it's going to start kind of being our lane, is having the people that not necessarily are as known,
Right.
or getting them before they are known. Because I use Barry Goldwater as an example, and what he changed politics forever when it came to libertarianism and Ronald Reagan. He didn't win the 64 election, but he won the country in a ways on certain aspects of that ideology. I mean, he was a segregation. I don't condone Barry Goldwater, but when it comes to this strictly politics, he changed different ideas from the Republican establishment at the time. At the time, they had the Rockefeller Republicans, were essentially just corporate Democrats. And he had a completely different way of looking at politics, was small government, get the government out of our lives, libertarianism, essentially. Yeah. And then they started the Federalist Society and everything else. Then they got Nixon elected. Then they got Ronald Reagan elected. So we got to build this movement from the ground up. And that's going to be a part of our job, and it's going to be part of everyone else's job as well. We can't do this alone. We're going to have to, when we work as hard as we can to get that going, but it's on other people as well. And that's why we got to support independent media, because that's one of the reasons I think Bernie lost, because independent progressive media is so much smaller than mainstream media.
Yeah. Yeah, when you don't have that money, the mainstream got endless donors.
Yeah, they have almost unlimited money.
And those donors will pay to keep things in their interest going. So
the same. So that mean, and Bernie Sanders not winning, that sucks, and it sets us back a little bit. But we still have the ideas, and we're starting to build. We didn't really have any progressives in Congress. Now we're going to have a few.
Mm-hmm.
So there we go. That's all I got to say. Do you have anything else on that? I want to switch to something else.
No, go ahead.
Okay, so if you didn't hear, there was a shooting on protesters in Kentucky. One person died, unfortunately. This happened Saturday. So a fatal shooting in Louisville on Saturday night added a grim note to a week of protest against police violence, in particular against the killing of March of Bree Taylor. Everyone should know who Bree Taylor is. Cops killed her in March. The victim was identified as Tyler Gurf. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but 27 from Louisville. He was a photographer. Unfortunately, he died. I'm not going to say the shooter's name, but he has been charged with first degree murder and engagement to story that vigilante and white supremacist terrorists, especially if Trump loses. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Can you hear me back?
I skipped for a second.
Okay. What did you not hear?
Right before, I guess pretty much after, right before what white supremacist.
Okay. Yeah. So, white supremacist terrorism not a humongous issue in this country, but when it comes to terrorism, it's the biggest issue in this country.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people don't even understand what the definition of terrorism even is. It's not just Muslims. It's if you commit, essentially, paraphrasing, you commit a violence against civilians for an ideology or a political stance, that's terrorism. So white supremacy is ideology. Them committing violence is a attack. There you go.
Yeah.
So I worry that white supremacy is gonna rise more in this country because our culture is changing, and people don't like change of all races, and you have your borderline races that don't like how our country's moving, then they're gonna radicalize even more. So I think people, especially black people and people of color, got to be careful, man. And if you're not comfortable buying a gun or doing things like that, then you got to have pepper spray or other things along those lines, because I worry that it's going to increase. And I was a Second Amendment supporter, but I wasn't really a advocate as much before George Floyd's murder and the president's actions and everything else. But I'm definitely way more in that boat. I think the Second Amendment is really important. The people to protect themselves and against the tyrannical government, which is what the Second Amendment was even written for. I I, I moved. I moved on my opinion when it comes to guns, and actually know what they're doing when it comes to guns. I like those idiots in St. Louis that had no probably never held a gun before and poured in their gun. I'm talking about people that believe in the Second Amendment, want to keep themselves safe, and I think it's important. And we're going to have discussions of how we can have those and keep other people safe from like school shootings and other things like that. That's a bigger discussion that we don't really have time to talk about right now. But how do you feel about this, Pac?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always with this thing. I'm always kind of torn between, yes, I think that they should be able to arm themselves and protect themselves just like anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Do I think that the government or the police department, to be more general, would react to them the same way they do if they were standing on the steps of at a government building? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I feel like their reaction to that would be completely polar opposite of what it was when it's white people.
Yeah.
So I fear for that conflict, but I also know that it's necessary for them to see that they will exercise their rights as well.
Mhm.
So
Which
that's
is
something.
why I've been in the same boat. I do worry about that, but if it's more commonplace to see people of color with guns, and it's more normalized that not from what the media likes to portray people of color with guns of gang activities, not this actual people that want to protect themselves and their families and believe in the Second Amendment. If I think if people more normalized with seeing that, I think maybe that would help. You know, we don't live in the same country anymore. We don't live in a country that we cannot have guns and we can start taking away the guns and everything like that. We don't live in that country anymore.
Right.
Yeah, it sucks to say that, but we don't. And the thing in bargain is we don't live in that. People say, well, gun violence has happened in European countries. Well, they don't have guns in those countries for one, and they don't have a gun culture as well.
Right.
They don't have more guns than people in Britain or Germany or wherever country. Like it's completely different. So you're comparable apple to oranges, and honestly, so that's a bigger discussion that we would have a different day. But the last thing I wanted to talk about was let's see here. Give me 1 second. Is something that Pax sent me this morning about the corporations as being ridiculous. We kind of already talked about it, but so, like Jersey Mike's changing their BLT to BLM and all
Yeah.
these banks
Can I
that
read
don't give
this?
loans to people of color, but they, yeah, go ahead, of course.
It's so stupid. Okay. So this is Jersey Mike's. Okay. This is this is their statement.
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
We here at Jersey Mike's are always striving for greatness with our sandwiches, but also in our community. We have listened to the larger cultural conversation and have decided that effective tomorrow, July 1st, that's today,
Yeah.
our famous BLT, bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwich will now be known as the BLM, bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwich. Black Lives Matter. So this is just surface shit. Okay.
Yeah.
This is when corporations don't really want to take a stand, but they want their customers to think they're taking a stand. So they rename a BLT to a bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwich. Never mind all the problems I have with the BLT. This is just ridiculous, man. But it's this kind of rhetoric, these kinds of little nothingness that people are focusing on when we need to be focusing on real change. Them changing the name of their sandwich, somebody taking down a movie like on HBO Go, they took Gone with the Wind off because of the racial stuff that's in it. Like, I understand that that's cool, but that's just surface. That's not actual change, and people need to know the difference. You know, if you think, yeah, I got Jersey Mike's to change the name of their sandwich, like put that energy into something else,
Yeah. And this is ridiculous. The Golden Girls had to take down an episode because they had blackface, even though they had mud on their face. Nonsense like that. Like, this is not changing anything. Cool that you're more attuned with the changing culture, but that doesn't do any shit. Like, doing literally everything else of them actual change. And
right.
It doesn't do anything. It just makes wine moms more happy about themselves. Like,
Right.
Doesn't help black people. Doesn't help.
And it gives them something to talk about when their progressive friends are around. You know, Jersey Mike's renamed their sandwich for Black Lives Matter. They did that. Subway didn't do it. Firehouse Subs didn't do it. Now I'm name dropping Subway, like sub sandwich places.
Yeah.
But Jersey Mike's did. It means nothing. What does it mean? It doesn't mean anything. Ask them to donate some money to Black Lives Matter and then see what they do. That's my alarm.
That, or ask them to. Oh. Okay. Well, we can get going.
Sorry.
It's okay. But yeah, that's all pretty much all we got to say. Corporations are idiots that don't want to do anything other than token nonsense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's pretty much all I got to say. Thank you all for watching, of course.
Yes, like, share, subscribe. If you are watching this, and whether you're in Oklahoma or not, and you know of people that are running that are progressive, please hit us up in the comments. Let us know. We want to reach out to these people and give them a platform to raise awareness of them and what they're running on.
Yeah.
All right.
This is Uprising. Thank you.
All right.
It's the Uprising.